Yeah, no, that's a good question. Sorry, I was muted. Speaking to the first piece, our goal and how we think about Camp is we do not want to become an isolated IP blockchain. What I mean by that is we don't want to be operating on our own standards that no one else adheres to, right? We want to ultimately be a globally recognized entity across both Web2 and Web3. Our licensing frameworks, our IP frameworks, and how we think about the world of IP and law will be and is compatible with the broader sort of legal frameworks that exist. Ultimately, whether it's other chains, whether it's Web2, essentially, we want to just be the invisible backbone to power the entire sort of market for IP and AI and that collaboration. And so at the end of the day, no matter what, we'll ensure that we are always focused on sort of building that compatibility and recognition with established organizations around IP and AI to ensure compliance and adherence as well. Your second question is if there's a conflict or if someone like breaches my IP, how can we solve it? This is a very good question because, it's something that is really going to be the difference between, $1 billion and $1 trillion opportunity, right? Our goal is, once you establish provenance on chain, blockchain is really a unique solution because it's ultimately a immutable digital ledger around these key terms. Around I am the owner of this IP. I can easily set my terms. I can say, yes, I want it to be trained by models and I want it to be licensed by other users, or I could say, no, I don't want it to be. So I essentially want to protect my creativity. No matter the interest, at the end of the day, by rooting everything in provenance, we can start to really clearly establish these rules around what can be licensed and what can't be licensed. And if at the end of the day, your IP is stolen or is used unfairly without your permission, we have the legal accordance between our chain and legal frameworks to basically say, hey, this is a unfair use of the IP, and we have grounds to essentially go after and take legal action against entities that violate these terms. I talked to a handful of IP lawyers.
Regarding sorry, James. But regarding the provenance, right, for either users or institutions that will be using Camp Network's framework to set the provenance, but how can we tell that whoever is doing the provenance is the original owner of that content?
Yeah, it's a good question. So you're basically talking about like the dispute process, like what is the dispute module? We think about it in very simple terms, right? As a user, you get to establish ownership of an IP. But the question is, do you actually own that IP? And so we're working with several partners and building out infrastructure that actually scrapes IP across the largest social platforms. So for example, if you are uploading a video of content, and this actually video exists on YouTube or on TikTok already, you can track the ownership, you can track the sort of like the creation date and use and start to put side-by-side comparison of the creation date, who's the owner, what is the use of the IP, and basically being able to scrape across these social platforms in Web2 is one way to combat that. We actually supplement that and go further by creating our own dispute like bot. So I think what AI does incredibly well is digest tons of information and simplifies the output. And so we're building out our own sort of dispute bots where they can train on our IP registry. And so if you have an if you have an AI bot that's trained on our IP registry, anyone who uploads IP on Camp, you can start to really clearly see who are the owners based on ownership and provenance. And if you match that against other Web2 platforms and Web3, on-chain records, and you're sort of parsing through all that data, and you can say, cool, actually this picture or this IP was actually uploaded 4 months ago or 3 years ago. There's meaningful grounds to flag this as a infringement of IP. We'll leverage both a combination of AI infrastructure as well as review with legal standards to ensure that we can actually track provenance and ensure proper ownership.
그래서 그 IP를 사실 온체인에서 갖고 있는 거랑 실제 이 IP 창작물을 갖고 있는 사람이랑의 충돌도 있을 수 있고, 또 나라별로 이게 기준이 다를 수 있잖아요. 이런 직접 재산권에 대한 이런 그런 게. 그래서 그게 이제 일단 지향하는 방향으로는 캠프가 이제 구축하는 이런 IP 라이선스